absolutely beautiful. Hey guys, welcome back to the Tom's Outdoors Learn to Fly Fish series. So today guys, we're going to be looking at how to rig 3 different rigs that will cover you for pretty much any occasion that's going to come up. First things first, I'm going to pull off as much of this thick fly line as I need to go through the rod. The reason being, dealing with the end of this leader down where the tippet is, where the thinnest line is, can be quite hard to slide through all of these, and then halfway up you drop it and you've lost all your work. But if I pull off all the line I need, double it over at the front here, and then run it through the guides, it makes life super duper easy. Also too, if I let go, it's going to stay where it is. On this rod, I've got our nice bright line so you can see what I'm doing. And then I've got a 9-foot 3X tapered leader. Now that's about a 8.5 pound breaking strain or so. So to start off, I'm going to start with a dry fly rig. Now, we've got our 9-foot tapered leader on here. And because it's a 3X leader, I'm going to add about 2 foot of 3X tippet. That's the finest line that goes at the very end. If anything's going to break or come away, it's going to be on that fine line, and then that way we don't waste a whole bunch of line when we do break off a fly. Also, this is the piece of line that's most likely going to get scuffed up, maybe tangled, that sort of thing. There we go. So I've done my double surgeon's knot to attach that one. So now I actually have about an 11-foot long leader plus tippet all together. Now, dry fly rig's really simple because all I've got to do now is tie a dry fly on. Let's get my favorite. $10 for anyone who can guess at home before I reveal it. Yep, Morris Hopper. Now to claim your $10, go to claimingmickeys10.com.au. Not a real domain name. So I've got our nice big dry fly. Easiest thing about doing a dry fly rig is all we've got to do is come to the end there where we've put our tippet on, and then we tie the dry fly on. I use my penny knot. Now, all that dry fly needs is a little bit of floating and we're in the game, we're good to go. Now, one adaptation of this rig that makes it really, really valuable, and probably the most common rig we have, it's called the dry dropper. And that's the next one we're gonna look at. So once you've got your dry fly rig set, and you've got your hopper floating along on the surface, it's a bit of a cloudy day, it's a little bit, cold, there aren't that many hoppers around just yet. So the fish might be looking for nymphs. So what I'm going to do is attach a nymph to this dry fly, making it a fly and a float simultaneously. So we've got our dry, and then we've got our nymph, which is our dropper. So all I've got to do here is get a bit more of that tippet. So I'll pull off some 3X again, and I think the fish is sitting about 2 or 3 foot down. So that's how much I'm going to pull off, and that's a good measure just to start. You can always make these longer or shorter, depending on how big the river you're fishing is. If it's quite a small little river, you might only have a foot. If it's a really big deep river like this, you might even go out to 4 or 5 foot sometimes. Now what I'm going to do here is tie my 3 foot of line I've clipped off to the bendy bit of the hook back here, okay? And what that is going to do is turn that dry, like I said, into not only a fly that's going to catch fish, but also a float. Because to the other end of that line that I've clipped off, I'm going to grab out a nymph. The same knot I use for all of my flies, which is the penny knot, and there you have it. Got a really, really fantastic rig where there's a big dry fly floating on the top of the water in case the fish want to eat something like a hopper or maybe a cicada. And then I've got my nymph hanging under the water, and if a fish eats the nymph, it's going to pull the hopper down. I'll know I can strike. The hopper works like a strike indicator, which, funnily enough, is going to be the next rig we look at. A nymph rig with a strike indicator. So now we've looked at our dry fly as well as our dry dropper, and they're both fantastic for fishing the kind of top levels of the water column. So in a big river like the Tumut, they're good for the first kind of 3 or 4 foot. Now once we need to get deeper than that, then we're going to look at an indicator nymph rig. Lots of stuff going on there, but think of it as float fishing. It's pretty straightforward. So I'm going to get a bit of a heavier nymph, and I'm going to put that one onto the end of my tippet. Same place where I was tying that hopper on before. Now I'm gonna come back up my leader, back through the tippet, all the way back up, about 6 foot or so. Then I'm going to get a strike indicator. Now I've got my little Oros ones here. They're a fantastic little strike indicator, especially for beginners. They're nice and easy to use. You can move them around easily. And They come in a bunch of different funky colors, pink and white being my favorite. Now all I need to do is unscrew the little indicator, attach it to my line 6 foot back from the fly, and then screw it on, and I'm done. That doesn't need any floating or anything else. Now what I have is a little float. We call it an indicator because, you know, we're fancy anglers. And then 6 foot down, I've got my nice heavy nymph. Now this is a great rig for fishing a little bit deeper. We do it a lot off the boats here on the Tumut, but it's fantastic off the bank here as well. You can go even heavier and add more flies to this rig, but that's a bit more an advanced rig, and you can check that one out on how to build a nymphing rig. Let's look at our last rig, shall we? I'm just taking that indicator rig off now because I'm going to show you the simplest rigging of all. I've got my 9 foot leader still, I still have my tippet, and that won't change for any of these rigs. As you get slightly more advanced and you're going to be fishing different rivers and different types of waters, that's when we're going to look at changing lengths and depth and everything else in between. But for now, a 9 foot leader with a bit of tippet on the end is perfect. And my final rig is just a good old wet fly or a streamer. When I open up my streamer box, and on a beautiful day with lovely soaking rain like this, you can't beat a streamer, and you can never beat a white streamer. Tie it on and go fishing. It's all that simple, guys. Now that we've looked at all these different rigs, guys, in the next few videos, we're gonna break down how to fish them, and then finally we will catch a fish. Again, if you've ever got any questions, guys, feel free to come visit us in store in Tumut, give us a call, send us an email, or, you know, send out some smoke signals or something else. I can pick out a lot of different things. We'll catch you around. I'm gonna go catch a fish and try not to step on a snake.